Welcome to the channel, everyone. On this channel, we share stories of average Joes around the world and their not so average issues. Let's start with the first story. Dad and stepmom are angry because I said no to my dad giving me away at the wedding. Am I in the wrong? My stepmother, let's call her Sally, has been with my dad around 7 years, and they've been married around 5 years. She makes my dad happy. I'm glad he has someone in his life. Sadly, Sally does my head in. Sally wouldn't talk to me all through 2021 because I refused to go to her 2020 New Year's party. At the time, the UK was under strict lockdown rules, and my partner and I helped to care for an elderly relative. She suddenly became my friend again when my partner and I got engaged at the end of 2021. Sally was very angry when she found out I was only allowed 2 seats for my MSc graduation and my partner and mother were offered them. Sally never asked about my MSc, never offered words of support and complained that I spent too much time studying. I worked full-time while studying the MSc. I invited Sally and my dad to the meal afterwards, and she said they were on holiday anyway. On graduation day, I sent them a photo, family WhatsApp group, of me in a dress I had made and the graduation gown. I told them that I would let them know when professional photos were available and if they liked, I could buy one for them. Sally's response? I shall use it as a dartboard. And then a lecture on how I didn't send kisses at the end of the message. When my partner and I announced our engagement, she was over the moon. However, she has said that she wants to use the wedding as a way to mend the broken relationship between my dad and older sister. I diplomatically asked her not to do that as I didn't want the drama and ultimately upset my older sister and dad. I'm already having to deal with my older sister being annoyed that our dad will be at the wedding and her threats not to come to the wedding let my nephews attend. My other sister has also told Sally the same thing with her first pregnancy and child, as Sally hopes a new baby in the family will also mend the bond. Sadly, nothing will make my older sister and dad talk to each other again, and to be honest, I don't see it as my role to interfere. Sally always goes on and on about the fact that my older sister doesn't talk to dad and how terrible it is for a child to not talk to a parent, whilst her 2 children don't talk to her ex-husband, and she praises them on it. I'm trying to involve Sally in the wedding plans to keep the peace and extend the hand of friendship. My partner and I have planned a parent-step-parents meal in March for the families to meet, but also have the opportunity to explain it will be a small wedding and we won't be having lots of traditions they may expect. I finalized the details with the pub and texted everyone about it. I text Sally and my dad in the group chat, confirming it was all booked. Sally then sent me a private message asking me who was going to give me away at the wedding, as she believes it should be my dad and not my stepdad. I haven't spoken about the ceremony or even voiced my stepdad giving me away. I wouldn't ask my stepdad and he wouldn't even expect to be asked. She said she knows it's a difficult question for me to answer. I know she thinks my dad should give me away, and I know tradition would expect it. My dad wasn't around for 10 or so years. We've made friends and I try not to think about that, and I'm glad to have him in my life again. However, I don't want him to walk me down the aisle. I prefer having my parents and my mother-in-law stand with my partner at the top of the aisle and having the families welcome my partner and I. I responded to Sally to say that my stepdad would not be giving me away. I then diplomatically explained that I don't believe in being given away, which is true, that my partner and I haven't even got to those details of the ceremony yet, which is also true, and there are certain traditions that we won't be having at the wedding. I was very polite, diplomatic, and kind. I don't like conflict and I'm a people pleaser, so we'll also keep the peace. I know people will say I should have ignored the message or just say my stepdad would not give me away. But I don't want Sally to tell my dad that he is giving me away and having them upset when ultimately we don't have the giving away aspect at the wedding. She read the message and hasn't responded. I know Sally is angry with me because she didn't get the response she wanted. I know I will have the same issue when she finds out her children and stepchildren are unlikely to have an invite to the wedding. They're lovely people, but we can't afford to ask extended families to join us. I'm fed up with being made into a bad guy. I try to see Sally and my dad as much as possible, and I ignore her racist and old-fashioned views on the world. I listen to all her complaints, to her saying awful and judgmental things about my family, and belittle all the achievements my partner and I have had in the past because she's upset that I haven't given her a grandchildren yet. I've never argued with her or answered her back as I don't want to harm my relationship with my dad. I just don't know how to handle her anymore. I'm trying so hard to involve her and keep her happy, but she's so difficult. Sally sent me the message yesterday and I struggled to work all afternoon and had panic attacks well into the evening. I know she'll be telling people how I'm a terrible daughter and take the conversation out of context. I know I shouldn't care what people think of me, but I do. People like this will always find something to be upset about. It's what makes them happy. You can cave to every request Sally has, and she'll still find a way to complain and make you feel bad. Don't play into it. Stop catering to her. She doesn't deserve it. She won't talk to you? Great. Break from the drama. Grey rock all her wedding questions. Mentally, just put her in the category of co-workers I have to be polite to but I don't like, and move on with your life. You're treating her better than you are treating yourself. You're bending over backwards for some reason to please this woman who you honestly don't even need in your life. Focus on having a relationship with your father directly. That does not involve her. If she's present when you see your dad and insults your partner or says something out of line, you and your partner say it's time for us to go and get up and leave. You can address that her comment was rude or out of line or not. That's up to you. The important thing is to not tolerate behavior that is upsetting you. Put yourself first. You will never regret it. Am I in the wrong for wanting to break up with my boyfriend because of his different perspective on love? My 25 female boyfriend, 30 male, and I have been dating just over a year. We're very different people, but all in all, we've had a good relationship so far. In so many ways, we're very compatible. We've had a few periods of fighting, arguments, and tension, but have always worked things through. This weekend, we've been arguing and unhappy. I asked him honestly if he's happy with me and willing to work on our issues. My boyfriend said he was scared to tell me in case I flipped out. I promised him I would just listen and I wanted him to be honest. He said that, in all honesty, he has moments when he doubts us and our future. I want kids eventually. He told me he doesn't want them and says he can't imagine living past 40. He's always said he wants to have kids one day, has referenced it when we have kids, etc. He asked me last month what I would do if he told me he doesn't want kids, and I told him I would be heartbroken, but we would probably break up because one of us would have to sacrifice a core value and it wouldn't be fair. He asked if I would go on to have kids with someone else, and I said if I met someone, maybe. If not, maybe I'd adopt or get a donor, etc. He said it hurt to hear that, and it was hard for him to stomach the fact that I could be so black and white about it, and that he felt replaceable. He said he doubts whether he is the ideal person for me and can meet my needs, because it's hard for him to support other people as he is inherently selfish. His words. He said the grass seems greener on the other side, and sometimes he wishes he were alone. Sometimes it's really hard and he can't be bothered. He said he doesn't go around telling people that he's going to marry me or that we'll be together forever, that he's a realist when it comes to relationships and knows that maybe we won't work out, that he isn't going to beg for me if I broke up with him, and that if things weren't working, he'd break up with me. I listened and honestly appreciated that he was truthful with me, but the truth hurt to hear. I agree with him that relationships aren't rainbows and butterflies, and that they're about commitment, about making a choice to be with that person, and sometimes really hard work. I do, however, also believe that when you really love someone, then that is the most important foundation, that you want to be with them rather than be alone, that you should, for the most part, make each other happy, that you should both want to try. He said he's not capable of feeling happy for other people, his family, his best friends, me. He also said that he doesn't want to lose me and that he can see a future with us, that he wants to work things out with me, that we're still young and early in our relationship. He says he loves me and that he only wants to be with me. He said if it didn't work out, he would choose to be single for the rest of his life, as he's been through enough heartbreak already, and thought me and him would be his last relationship. I'm confused. This is my first serious relationship, and he was explaining to me that this is normal, that people go through phases of wanting to break up with their partners, that love goes through highs and lows and periods of doubt and questioning. I feel so scattered and I don't feel ready to break up with him because I love him, but I'm thinking maybe it's the best thing for the both of us. However, he insists that we can make it work despite our differences, and that I would understand his choices and continue to stick with him if I really loved him. Am I in the wrong for thinking this relationship isn't worth it if we don't have kids eventually? Does that make me selfish for thinking it might be best for the both of us to go our separate ways solely based on the future possibility of not having children together, even though we love each other? Partner keeps cheating on me through Discord and now claims he is polyamorous. Am I in the wrong for not being on board with it? My partner and I have been together for over 10 years. We've been together since we were in high school, so I've never really been single as adults. My partner had a traumatic experience 6 years ago and was badly injured. For a while, he was housebound and didn't work. During this time, he started playing video games on PC a lot and joined lots of Discord groups to make friends, etc. Eventually, he recovered physically from his injuries and got a job. However, he still gamed a lot, like all night, and would constantly be on his phone chatting on Discord. I got suspicious about his behavior and questioned him about it, as I thought he could possibly be talking to girls in a way that broke the boundaries we had set in our relationship. He denied it every time I spoke about it and said I was being crazy and paranoid. One day, he left his computer open with Discord signed in, and I saw hundreds of messages from a girl. From the messages, it was clear he was emotionally cheating. He was saying I love you to them, and they were calling each other boyfriend-girlfriend. I was pissed. I confronted him and he reluctantly broke it off. Things got better after he broke it off. It was like he went back to his old self. He was attentive, spent time with me, and eventually I forgave him. Life went back to normal for about 18 months until someone in my family died who I was extremely close to. We both had a rough time with this, and he was really supportive throughout it. However, a month or two later, I picked up signs that he was again talking to people in Discord a lot, getting angry and defensive about his phone, staying up all night, not wanting to spend as much time together. Again, I found messages from an online girlfriend, same kind of messages as before. Stupidly, and possibly because I was going through so much grief, I forgave him again after he broke it off with them. 2 years later, our relationship is going well. I'm thinking that these two other incidents that happened are well behind us. My theory was that they were just a response to the traumatic things that happened to us, and he didn't deal with it well. He no longer spends all his time on the computer, is more active, has made real-life friends, etc. We buy a house, talk about having kids. Then, my partner starts working from home. He doesn't go out much, doesn't get to see his work friends anymore. He starts gaming again. A little at first, then all night again. Grows distant, doesn't want to do things with me. I know the pattern and I immediately get suspicious. He gaslights me again. I ask him over and over to tell me if there's something else going on. I feel like I'm going crazy. He leaves his phone unlocked, and guess what? He has another online girlfriend through Discord, saying I love you to her on our anniversary, saying they're his forever person. Hurtful shit. This time I'm not letting it go. And he isn't either. He now says he's polyamorous and that he thinks this is just the way he is. He wants me. He says he loves me more than anything, but he wants other people too. I have nothing against polyamory, but it's not how I'm wired. He says he's confused and doesn't know what he wants. I have started going to a psychologist, and so has he. We also had a couples counseling session with a third party, but it really just told us what we already know. I don't know how to be without him. Despite everything, I still care about him and love him. He still takes care of me, knows all my flaws, and we've been through so much together. I just can't keep being hurt over and over again. Is there any saving this relationship? How do we break up with each other when we still love each other? We hope you enjoyed today's stories. Use the comment section below to state your verdict on the situation, express your opinions, and share some valuable advice.